Hello friends, this is your friend back with a new fanfic. What if Naruto formed a powerful harem with Tsunade, Hinata, and mate Team 7 bashing? If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's start. Chapter 1, Konoha. After retrieving Tsunade, Senju is the new 5th Hokage after the Sandame's death due to him fighting Orochimaru. The Senju lady now turned 5th Hokage decides to carry on her duties as the new Hokage. She's now at the hospital. She wants to give Naruto Uzumaki a checkup one of these days. So she decides to check in on his medical files and history. Ah, Tsunade-sama, what brings you here to our medical archives? The head doctor of Konoha says, surprised by her appearance. I'm here to look at Naruto Uzumaki's medical information and files. Tsunade would say calmly, with the head doctor going tense and sweat lightly. I am afraid I can't show you that information, it's classified by the the head doctor says, but Tsunade spoke up in a hard tone. I am the Godime Hokage. Are you telling me, the new Hokage, that I can't have access to my shinobi's medical records? Tsunade would say with a stern glare that it made the head doctor pale lightly. No, Tsunade-sama, he answered. Then show me. She barked as he complied, now leading her to the medical records room and would direct her to Naruto Uzumaki's records. Her eyes widened slightly in disbelief at the amount of medical files stored in so many cabinets as she turned towards the head doctor, who was sweating slightly. What is all of this? She asked calmly. This is all Naruto Uzumaki's medical files. Tsunade-sama, he says, with her doing a double take, looking at every cabinet filled with Naruto's medical records. What? She shouted in rage as she grabbed the first cabinet, going through it, reading each medical record of Naruto as she looked appalled by all the injuries and suffering Naruto had went through. She went from one page to another in shock and disbelief, as it would soon turn to pure anger as she turned to the sweating head doctor as she grabbed him by the collar of his uniform and brought him to her face that was a pissed-off expression. Does my sensei know about these records? She asked, seeing him nod frantically. Start talking, she demanded. He wanted Naruto's medical records classified. He strictly told me no one can have access to them, and I promised him I wouldn't say a word to anyone. He says frantically, with her honey brown eyes narrowing. Glaring at the head doctor, she would toss him through several walls as other doctors would look horrified and instantly flinched when they saw Tsunade's glare directed at them all. Scowling, she walked out of one of the holes in the walls and decided to make a trip to the Hokage Tower to look for some answers. Hokage Tower. Now in her office, she looks at her sensei's diary, glaring as she reads every sentence regarding Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade was downright furious, seeing that her sensei never told Naruto about his parents, including Kushina Uzumaki, his mother, and about the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan was removed from the history of Konoha, meaning no one from Naruto's current generation has no knowledge about the Uzumaki clan that also helped found the village. Just the Senju and Uchiha. She saw the part about the Uchiha clan massacre, how Itachi was ordered to kill all Uchihas, even the women and children who could have been spared, with the exception of his brother being left alive. She gripped the diary tightly, trying to restrain herself from tearing it in half. The next part she read was about how Naruto was seeking for help in training for the final part of the exams. Since his sensei Kakashi didn't bother to train Naruto and gave the boy to Ebisu, so it seems Kakashi is favoring the Uchiha brat to train him for the whole month and not spend a little time to train Naruto, who also made it in the preliminaries. Putting the diary down, she went through the Team 7 records, seeing all of their mission reports and info. She sees everything that Kakashi has trained Sasuke, but sees little in what he trained Naruto with, only tree climbing and teamwork exercise. Meaning Kakashi hasn't trained shit with Naruto but only Sasuke. She's livid at the fact Kakashi has become so negligent with Naruto's training, stating that the boy was talentless and had no skills as a shinobi because of his performance in the preliminary exams. Maybe if the lazy fucker actually taught Naruto something instead of stunting his growth, his potential would increase and would become just as good as the damn Uchiha brat. Tsunade snarled in thought. She's going to have a long talk with Kakashi and Team 7. She then went back to her sensei's diary, reading more info. This time it was about her perverted ex-teammate making visits and bringing reports to their sensei. As she saw earlier in the diary that it was stated that Jiraiya was Naruto's godfather. And that perverted fucking idiot never thought to be responsible for Naruto and raising him. While Naruto lived a lonely life. As she read Jiraiya's report of teaching Naruto for the finals, all he taught the Uzumaki boy was water walking and summoning, but here's what made her blood boil. Her perverted teammate thrown Naruto off the cliff with no formal training in chakra control so he can summon a massive toad using a type of chakra that he has never had training in. When I see him, she thought very livid, as she looked back to where Naruto would live at. Seeing he lives somewhere in the slums of Konoha in an apartment building. She would have to look at the state of his apartment later. But right now, she's going to focus her energy and time on Naruto Uzumaki. Neko. Tsunade called out as the Anbu captain appeared in a swirl of leaves. Yes, Hokage-sama, replied Neko, who was Yugao. From her sensei's diary, Neko and Itachi were Naruto's guards at a young age. Bring me Naruto Uzumaki, Tsunade says in a stern tone of voice. At once Hokage-sama. Yugao would vanish and leaves to go retrieve Naruto to her leader. She was going to have some words with the boy and help him. Then she's going to have some words with Team 7 and Jiraiya. Chapter 2. With Naruto, the Uzumaki boy is at his apartment, having completed his mission in bringing back Tsunade Senju as the new Hokage. The boy would sit on his couch. That wasn't until he heard a knock on his door as he went to it and opened it, seeing the Anbu Neko at his door. Yes, Naruto says, wondering what did Neko want. The Hokage requests your presence, Naruto. Yugao would say with him raising a brow, puzzled, wondering what did Tsunade want, as he would take Yugao's hand and she would vanish with him in leaves, taking him to the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. Tsunade would wait for Yugao to bring Naruto. As she sat behind her desk waiting patiently while still reading the diary her sensei left behind. Reading what else did her sensei do wrong towards Naruto. Also reading the boy's shinobi academy background. Having a feeling his teaching there was also sabotaged. She will make it her business to go to the academy and see those teachers personally, and she's also going to have Mizuki executed instead of imprisoned since she read the Forbidden Scroll incident. The door would open revealing Naruto and Yugao as the two walked in. Tsunade looked up at them as her honey brown eyes became serious and were locked onto the boy who managed to convince her to become the fifth Hokage. Naruto looked at Tsunade's serious expression that was directed at him. He got anxious, wondering what is he in trouble for now. He hasn't done any pranks or anything as of late, right after he returned from his mission with Jiraiya to bring the Senju lady back. Thank you, Neko. Leave us, Tsunade would say as the Anbu woman vanished, leaving just Naruto and Tsunade alone in the room. Naruto Uzumaki. Come sit. We have much to talk about, she says in a formal business tone, going in serious Hokage mode. That would probably make her grand uncle Tobirama Senju proud. Naruto did as told. True enough, he came to her desk taking a seat facing her. So, what am I in trouble for? Naruto asked out of curiosity as her brow lifted. You are not in any form of trouble. Do you know why I called you here, Naruto? She asked, seeing him shake his head no. Good. You will know why you are called here today in my office. I called you here to discuss your training and your future potential. Along with your inheritance from your parents. She would say with him widening his blue eyes at the mention of parents. My parents. You know who they are? Hokage Gigi always would say that he never knew my parents. Naruto would say with her narrowing her eyes that her sensei would lie to the boy. In her opinion, Naruto has every right to at least know about his parents. He should have been known about his parents long ago, right when he was in the Shinobi Academy. Including learning knowledge about his clan, the Uzumaki clan. Jiraiya should have also told Naruto about his parents, including him being his godfather, but that idiot never took responsibility. Meaning she's going to terminate his guardianship as godfather to Naruto, since the pervert neglected Naruto, probably, no doubt, peeping like he always does. He knew. He lied to you, and decided not to tell you. In which I believed he should have still told you when you was 6 years old. She would say with him widening his eyes, his Hokage Gigi lied to his face about his parents. Why? Naruto asked. Because he felt that you wasn't ready to know just yet. Tsunade answered. Her sensei had no right to say whether if he was ready or not to learn of his parents. So all this time, he lied to me. Who are my parents? Naruto asked, keeping his attention locked on Tsunade, who sighed and faced him with a calm look. Your parents are none other than Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Tsunade would say, dropping the bomb as Naruto's eyes widened in great length. The Yondaime is his father. And is the one who sealed the fox into him. The Yondaime is my father. He sealed the fox into me. Why? Naruto says with sudden anger on his face that his father did this to him, as Tsunade had a calm expression seeing his anger about his father putting the fox into him. She expected this reaction. He did it to save the village and to keep everyone from dying. I know your parents. Your mother never wanted that for you. If you was my child, I wouldn't want that for you either, given how Jinchuriki are treated. Tsunade says with Naruto's angry tears appearing. Jinchuriki. What's that? He asked. A human sacrifice. Remember your fight with Gaara. She says with him nodding. You and Gaara are both Jinchuriki. You are holders of the tailed beasts. You carry the Kyuubi. From the invasion report I looked at, he carried the one tails. Tsunade would say with Naruto looking up. Wait a minute, are you saying there's more? Like me and him? Naruto asks with her nodding. Correct. You are catching on. There are 9 Jinchuriki here in the elemental nations. Your mother once held the Kyuubi, she was its previous holder. Tsunade would say with him still focused and paid attention. The other 7 are out in their own respective villages. No doubt enduring the suffering you've gone through. Tsunade says with Naruto still keeping his attention on her. While thinking about these other Jinchuriki who share the same pain and torment he has gone through. No wonder Gaara probably felt the way he does. But why me? I never asked to be a Jinchuriki. All the beatings. The torture, on every birthday I receive, the looks of hate and anger. I never asked for all of that. Naruto asks, still unable to understand why did his father picked him to hold the beast. Couldn't he just pick another child? He says with her sighing. That was the thing he couldn't do. He couldn't bring himself to ask for someone's child to hold the fox. So he chose you, even though he didn't want to, but there was no other choice. Your mother probably insisted that he sealed the fox back on her, but he still chose you. Tsunade answered in a solemn expression. What happened to them? He would ask. Your parents. They died sacrificing their lives for you, if I recall. Both were impaled by the fox's claw as it knew of your father's intentions and tried to kill you when you was a baby. Tsunade told him as Naruto now understood why. As he had a downcast expression. Do you know that you are also in a clan? She would say with him looking up in surprise. What? Me in a clan? He says with surprise in his voice that he has a clan. Yes, the Uzumaki clan. Just so you know, I'm part Uzumaki. She says as she would tell him all about the Uzumaki clan, who are the elemental nation's famed skilled seals masters in sealing arts and such. But were wiped out by a triple alliance of Kumo, Iwa and Kiri. Telling him also that the Uzumaki clan also helped found Konoha. Why isn't my clan in the Konoha history reports that Iruka-sensei would lecture about? All there is was the Senju and the Uchiha clan who founded the Leaf Village. Naruto asked, coming to terms that he's in a clan. I believe Sarutobi-sensei and the elders probably had something to do with removing all knowledge about the Uzumaki clan when you was but a baby. Tsunade answered while she's going to bring up a meeting and announcement about the Uzumaki clan, including Naruto's heritage. Also about the Uchiha clan massacre, that Itachi Uchiha was a hero and he prevented a coup from happening in the village. So she can knock that Uchiha brat right off his high horse. It disgusts her on how they treat Sasuke as if he was Kami's child when he's not. She wondered, did her sensei not want Naruto to know anything about the Uzumaki clan? Oh, so what's this about my training and future? I thought Pervy Sage was going to take me as an apprentice. Since I finally know the Rasengan and somewhat tried to summon a toad boss on my first try. Naruto says with Tsunade narrowing her eyes. Tried. So the pervert didn't stay to make sure you did the proper way to summon. I saw in the report that he pushed you right off the cliff, making you fall into a bottomless pit. She asks sternly. No, he honestly didn't stay that much to show me how. He answered truthfully. At a bathhouse. Jiraiya felt a chill down his spine, and something told him he was in a world of trouble. There's a pervert, yelled a woman as they all looked at Jiraiya, who began to run for his life as they chased after him with sharp weapons. Hokage Tower. Well, Naruto. Seeing how poorly your training is, which is stunted by your sensei Kakashi, who was also your father's student. And I can't trust or depend on Jiraiya to train you to bring out your potential. True potential, she says with a determined smile. Potential. You believe I have potential to be a great shinobi. And possibly become Hokage? Naruto asks with her nodding. Of course. That's why I'm taking you as my apprentice, Tsunade says with Naruto gasping in shock that Tsunade is going to be training him and teaching him. You are training me, he gestured to himself as she nodded. Did I stutter? I am going to train you and bring out your potential since Kakashi and most likely Jiraiya will fail at doing. And also for your heroic effort in the invasion on stopping Gaara. I'm promoting you to Chunin. She says with him smiling wide that he's going to make Chunin. What about Kakashi-sensei? And Pervy Sage? How will they take this? He asked. You leave that to me. You are no longer on Team 7. Because right now you're my permanent apprentice. She says with a smile as he too smiled. This is going to be great. He exclaimed in joy and excitement. When do we start? He asked. Very soon. I hear you live at an apartment, right? I know it's a rundown apartment, isn't it? Tsunade asks with Naruto nodding. You're living with me at the Senju estate. Tsunade says with him looking up in surprise. Shizune, could you come here? Tsunade says on the intercom. Coming Tsunade-sama. Shizune's voice replied. Shizune would appear as she waves to Naruto, who waves back at her. Shizune, could you go with Naruto at his apartment for him to pack whatever he needs necessary for him to move to the Senju estate? He will be staying with us there. Tsunade would say with the black-haired woman nodding. Come on Naruto. Let's go. Shizune would say with him grabbing her hand and leaving the office, leaving Tsunade all alone. Anbu. Bring me Kakashi Hatake along with Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. Tsunade would command as the Anbu hidden in the room would do just that to go retrieve them. A moment later, the Anbu brought Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura Haruno in Tsunade's office. As the Anbu would leave. Hello Hokage-sama, what can we do for you today? Kakashi would say looking up at his superior with Sasuke having a brooding glare. While Sakura would beam up at the sight of Tsunade Senju. Maybe she could ask her to become her student. Sit down Kakashi. Including you, Uchiha and Haruno. She would say as the three sat down. How come that idiot Naruto isn't here? Is this about him? Sakura says until she felt killer intent in the room, and it was coming from Tsunade as Sakura flinched when she saw the look Tsunade gave her. That is what we will be talking about. Including the future of Team 7. Tsunade says with a glare at all of them. What are you saying Tsunade-sama? Kakashi asked, this time having a feeling that he's in trouble as he felt her honey brown eyes on him. Team 7 is disbanded. Tsunade would say with those in the room gasping at her in shock at what she declared. What? Sakura gasped with Sasuke looking shocked as was Kakashi's eye widened. I mean Hokage-sama, tell me you are joking. Kakashi asked. Do I look like I'm joking? She says with a glare as their shock turned to horror. What? You can't do this to me. Sasuke yelled with Tsunade's killer intent flaring at him. You little shitstain. Tsunade hissed. Hokage-sama, why are you disbanding Team 7? Kakashi asked, wondering why is she disbanding the team. You want to know why Kakashi? Because this team is a failure. I don't know what my sensei was thinking when he placed you in charge of Team 7. Although that's not the only reason it's getting disbanded. Because of your inability to teach Kakashi. You have a civilian girl who is nothing but a pathetic fangirl who doesn't take her training as a kunoichi seriously and only wants to be a kunoichi to impress the Uchiha. The said Uchiha you have with you is nothing but a spoiled brat that gets everything handed to him and he doesn't have to work or earn for it. It sickens me, she stated. What about Naruto? Kakashi asked. Naruto has potential. Unlike those two, she answered. But Hokage-sama. Naruto has no talent whatsoever, and Kakashi starts to say, but Tsunade cut him off as her glare gazed into his soul. He has no talent. Oh really? Then why is it that he was able to sneak past Anbu, break into the Hokage vault and steal the Forbidden Scroll and learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which is considered an A-ranked jutsu, and develop some strategies? Let's not forget he was also able to paint the whole Hokage monument overnight undetected. Also he also managed to defeat last year's Rookie of the Year Neji Hyuga and was able to defeat Gaara. So enlighten me Kakashi. Tsunade would say with a glare as Kakashi went silent, unable to counter that. And let me ask you this Kakashi. Why didn't you train Naruto for the finals when he requested your help? Surely you could have trained both he and Sasuke since your other student didn't make it past the preliminaries. Tsunade would ask as the Jonin sweated. Well, you see, Hokage-sama. Sasuke had a much more dangerous opponent than Naruto did, and I needed to focus my full attention on him. Plus, teaching Naruto with Sasuke would have been a waste of time for me to focus on. Which is why I passed him to Ebisu. He answered as her killer intent would grow rapidly. If that was the case, then why did you have Naruto on Team 7 to begin with? She asked with a dangerous tone. I saw a rivalry between the two and I felt it was better Sasuke to improve and grow. Since I feel Sasuke is a lot like me in terms of being a prodigy. He answered with her still glaring deathly at him. So that's it, huh? Well, all the more reason that Team 7 is disbanded. And as for you, Kakashi, you being demoted to Chunin, and you will also be on time for meetings. I swear if you so much as come late at an important meeting, I will personally rip out that Sharingan eye of yours and crush it. Tsunade says with him looking horrified. I will not accept this. I am a Uchiha elite. You can't disband my team. Sasuke spat until Tsunade grabbed him by the throat, lifting him in the air, making Kakashi and Sakura look in horror. You will accept this, you little shit. Who are you to tell what I can't disband? She hissed in anger. The councils will not, he says, but her grip tightened. Please, Hokage-sama, reconsider. Don't disband Team 7, Kakashi pleaded. It's too late. My order is absolute. You disappoint me, Kakashi, and I'm sure your sensei will be too. You need not to worry about Naruto. He's in good hands already. She says with a scowl, making him and Team 7 flinch. So he's not getting punished. How come that idiot gets off free? Sakura screeched. Because Naruto out of the three of you is the one has way more potential. I will be taking care of that. You all are dismissed. Tsunade hissed, making them leave instantly. Taking a deep breath, she decided to calm down. Knowing the next person she's going to talk to will piss her off the most. Neko, she calls out, as Yugao appeared. Yes, Hokage-sama. Yugao bows down. Bring me Jiraiya, she says as Yugao nodded and vanished. Now it's his turn. Chapter 3. Hokage Office. Tsunade patiently waited for Jiraiya to come right to her. To kill the time, she began looking through all the other files and stuff her sensei left behind. Looking for more secrets. Suddenly the doors opened up, revealing it to be none other than Jiraiya and Neko. Tsunade stopped at what she was doing as her full focus and attention was on Jiraiya. Tsunade looked towards Yugao. Thanks for bringing him, Yugao. You may leave, she would say with the violet-haired Anbu captain leaving, as Tsunade would sit back at her desk looking at Jiraiya with a glare. Jiraiya was sweating slightly, feeling his blood run cold at Tsunade's glare directed at him. The only time she ever glared like that when she caught him peeping on her and beat him into the ground. Hey Tsunade Heim, what's up? Jiraiya asks in a nervous tone. Sit, Jiraiya, Tsunade says in a serious stern voice. And I'm sitting, he says, now sitting down, having a whole uneasy feeling about this. Scared, wondering why is Tsunade looking at him with so much anger, hatred and rage, as if he peeped on her this time. Except that wasn't the case. Do you have the slightest idea to why you are called here, Jiraiya? Tsunade says with a glare as he shifted in his seat. And no. If it's about me peeping at the bathhouse just recently, he starts to say, but she slammed her fists on her desk. That is not why I called you here for. I called you here to talk about your duties as Naruto's godfather. Tsunade yelled, making him go pale and started sweating. Oh. Putting up a serious expression and face as Tsunade he spoke. Now Tsunade, I know I haven't been the best godfather, but I had, he would say, but she cut him off. I don't want to hear your excuses. You left him alone for 12 fucking years. Naruto spent 12 years of loneliness thinking he had no family. Do you have any idea how he felt? Or you probably didn't care because you were too busy probably peeping in bathhouses and doing more of your research aside from your spy network. Tsunade spat with anger as Jiraiya could have sworn he saw fire ignite in her eyes. He tried to say, but she glared at him hard, which silenced him. It seems to me that you never bothered to at least visit Naruto or check on his well-being. How do I know this? I looked into Sensei's diary and saw that you've been recently visiting Sensei, giving him reports once a month from your spy network. Care to tell me why you never thought to visit him? Or the very least get to know him? Or tell him that you are his godfather and you was supposed to be raising him? Tell him about his parents. Answer me, Jiraiya. Tsunade growled with anger as the toad sage sighed. He knew lying to her probably wasn't a good idea. Because she knows when he's lying. Well, Tsunade, at the time I was busy managing my spy network and you know. Ah, my research. He says as he saw more fire ignite in her eyes and she was covered in killer intent. So you cared more about your spy network and your precious research, more than your godson. A godson your student entrusted you with. She spoke in a cold, deathly tone. Well, sensei said I didn't have to worry about Naruto and that he could handle it, Jiraiya says, but another slam on the desk startled him. Bullshit. You probably didn't want to be bothered with Naruto at all, did you? Tsunade yelled, now rising from her desk, glaring into him as he shrunk in fear at her glare. His silence pretty much confirmed that was true. Minato would be ashamed to call you his sensei. And probably no doubt realized his mistake in making you godfather to his son. Tsunade says, causing Jiraiya to look up at her, that she brought up his dead student. Naruto knows, he says. I told him who his parents are. I told him everything. Except about you being his godfather. But I will tell him eventually about you. Tsunade answered with her looking at her mortified. Tsunade, why did you tell him? He wasn't ready to know such things about his parents or the Uzumaki, he says, but was suddenly lifted in the air by the scruff of his clothing and was slammed into the wall, looking at her angry glare. After what he's been through. Do you know that Naruto was abused? Abused by the very shinobi and villagers both his parents risked their lives for. Saving this shithole of a village. Do you know that Naruto would be beaten, starved, and constantly abused here because they hate him for holding the fox? Blaming him for something that was not his fault. Do you know, or you probably don't care? She growled, keeping him pinned to the wall, apply pressure close to forming a new hole in her office wall. Jiraiya looked away. No, I didn't, he admits as he could feel her tight grip. Why was the Uzumaki clan's knowledge or history of it removed, Jiraiya? She demanded. It was the only way for Naruto not knowing about his clan. If Naruto knew, he would have traced the dots and would began asking who his parents are. It was removed right after the days of his birth. He answered as Tsunade looked livid. Had I known the kind of torment and suffering Naruto has gone through, I would have been there to raise him. She says under her breath. On the night of the fox attack she heard Kushina died, and probably assumed Naruto did too. When she heard both Minato and Kushina died, she had lost so many loved ones that it drove her to leave Konoha. Her brother Naoki, her lover Dan, Kushina, she was full of grief that she chose to leave the village. But now I can make that a reality. She says, facing Jiraiya with a glare, and put him down. I'm going to correct Minato's mistake along with Sensei's mistake. You will not go anywhere near Naruto ever again. Your guardianship as his godfather is terminated. Tsunade says with him looking up. Now wait a minute, Tsunade, you can't do this. He's my godson too, he says in protest, until she grabbed his throat, choking him and bringing him face to meet her eyes. You lost all rights to being his godfather. I don't want you anywhere near him at all. He's my responsibility now. She growled, slamming him back on the wall hard, creating a spider web like Shatterpoint. But, I'm supposed to train him. Make him an apprentice. He's already signed the Toad summoning contract. The Toads will be very displeased. Jiraiya says in protest. You are not going to train him anymore. I will. I can see that you will no doubt waste his potential like Kakashi has done. He's going to be my apprentice, whether you like it or not. She would toss him across the room, tossing him to a nearby cabinet as she walked up to him, cracking her knuckles and fists. Jiraiya looked up in horror, seeing the murderous intent in her eyes. Please, Tsunade, give me another chance. Don't do this, he pleaded, seeing her get closer. Do not worry, Jiraiya, I'm not going to kill you. You might as well wish that I did, because you are going to get the beating of a lifetime. For what you put Naruto through. She let out a roar of rage and channeled chakra into her fists and began delivering a barrage of ballistic punches on Jiraiya's body as his howls of pain and screaming echoed throughout Konoha. Chapter 4. Senju Estate. Shizune had escorted Naruto back to the Senju Estate, which is where Tsunade and her live at. As Naruto brought little to what mattered to him, since he didn't have much there at his apartment. When they got there, they spotted Tsunade Senju already there at the estate. We are here, Tsunade-sama. Shizune would say, with Naruto looking up in awe at the place. Ah, good Shizune. Welcome to the Senju Estate, Naruto. Lovely place is it. she says, noticing him admiring the house. This is so cool. I'm living in the Senju clan home. Naruto would say in awe as he looked around the place. Come, I'm going to show you where you will be sleeping at. Tsunade would say, walking away with Naruto and Shizune following her as Shizune walked up to her whispering in her ear. So how was it with Jiraiya? Shizune whispered as Tsunade glared. Let's just say that Jiraiya won't be active for some time now. Tsunade says with Shizune gasp lightly, knowing that the meeting with him didn't go so well, and that Tsunade really beat the brakes off him. Meanwhile with Jiraiya, now in the hospital in a full body cast laying on a stretcher, face bruised up, black eyes. As you could hear him moan and groan in pain after the beating Tsunade gave him. His jaw is dislocated due to her punching him in the face. He is to remain like this for a whole month. Tsunade isn't going to heal him, she's going to let him suffer in agonizing pain. For what he put Naruto through. And when that month is up, she's going to put him back on duty for his spy network. Back at the Senju estate. Well, Naruto, here is the guest room. This is where you will be sleeping at. Tsunade says, pointing to the room in which he went inside holding his bag. Seeing the guest room was moderate room size. The Uzumaki boy smiled that he has a very decent room which is better than his apartment. As he went over to get on the comfortable mattress that was soft and better. As he laid down on the bed sighing in contentment. Like what you have, Naruto? Tsunade asks as he looked up to her. Sure. Tsunade, when do we start training? He asks her as she folds her arms under hers. We will start maybe tomorrow or the next day. There is something important I will have to do. But starting in the morning we are getting you some brand new clothes. Tsunade answered, tomorrow she is going to have a lot of work to do. After she takes him shopping, she's going to have a meeting to talk with the council and will chew out the elders. Including on having 3 of those elders dealt with. Oh okay. So what will I be doing while you have something important to do? Naruto asks her, seeing her keep her eyes on him. As she thought on what he could do. Well, when I'm done doing this important meeting I will see to it that you will get some training. Now get some rest. We getting up early in the morning. She says with him nodding and sitting his bag down and getting ready for bed. With Tsunade and Shizune herself were leaving the boy alone. The next day, Konoha Shinobi store. It was morning as Tsunade Senju along with Naruto and Shizune were on their way to the store to buy Naruto some brand new clothes so he can get rid of the orange jumpsuit he wears all the time. As they got in, the bell chimed, informing the store owner that a customer is in his shop. Once he began to greet, his eyes widened then narrowed when he saw Naruto. You don't belong here, you. He froze and stared in horror at who was with the blonde boy. Tsunade Senju, the new Hokage. As he saw her, gave him a cold look, daring him to finish that sentence. Hokage-sama. I didn't know you were here. Stammered the store owner in shock, scared that Tsunade was right there. I came here to let this boy shop and buy him some brand new clothes. And if you want to live today you better allow him to buy from your store. Tsunade says, coldly glaring at the store owner, who nodded vividly, trying not to soil himself in front of her. Scared as he knows not to piss off Tsunade, who was known for her temper. Go on ahead, Naruto. Go pick you out some clothes. Me and Shizune will be standing here waiting for you. Tsunade says, keeping her glare aimed at the store owner, who flinched as Naruto nodded and ran off into the clothing area to find him some clothes. A moment later, Naruto had returned with new clothes. Black shorts, black combat shoes, a new kunai osler, a black shirt with the whirlpool swirl on the back of it. Some socks and underwear, as Tsunade nodded, approved of his choice in clothing as she eyed the store owner, who flinched at her, sweating lightly. Naruto would turn to the owner and pulled out his wallet. What do I owe you? Naruto asks him as the store owner shook. It's on the house. The store owner says, with Naruto widening his eyes in awe that he didn't have to pay. Really? Naruto asked with a head tilt as the owner nodded. Good. Let's go, Naruto. Tsunade says as she, Shizune and Naruto left the store. As they left the store, Tsunade looked at the time. Shizune, can you take Naruto out for some ramen? I have to be at the meeting. Tsunade would say with Shizune nodding. Of course, Tsunade-sama. Come, Naruto-kun, I'll take you for some ramen. Shizune says, taking his hand as Naruto looked towards her. You behave. Once I'm done with this meeting I'll see what can we do today. Tsunade told him. He acknowledged that with a nod as she watched him and Shizune leave. Tsunade herself went to the council chambers. Konoha Council Chamber. Now at the council chamber where the governing system of Konoha would discuss their benefits and best interests for the village. The clan heads were present, the elders were also present, Danzo, Homura and Kaharu. Who were angry at Tsunade since Sasuke told them that Team 7 was disbanded by Tsunade. They are going to give the Senju woman a piece of their mind. The civilian council and shinobi council are present. They were anxious as to why Tsunade called upon this meeting. As they saw the head chair turn, revealing it to be Tsunade with her hands folded in a calculating way, looking at the council with a sharp gaze. As her eyes fell mostly on Danzo, Homura and Kaharu, who were frowning and glaring at her. In which she paid no mind. She will get with them soon. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I'm sure you all want to know why you all are summoned here. Tsunade stated, looking at everyone. We demand to know why did you disband Team 7? Homura speaks out with Kaharu nodding, including the civilian council. The clan heads and shinobi council perked up at this. That Tsunade disbanded Team 7. Yeah, my daughter Sakura told me that her team was disbanded. Mebuki Haruno says. And I can see why the lot of you want to know, do you? Because that team was a failure to begin with and was not properly balanced. Kakashi Hatake is an incompetent teacher. Sure, he has taught Uchiha Sasuke many things and helped him learn the Sharingan since the Uchiha clan had been wiped out by his brother. Kakashi was the only one experienced with the Sharingan. The man had 2 other students that he neglected to focus on. Sakura Haruno is nothing but a fangirl and doesn't take being a kunoichi seriously. She may be good with book smarts and good chakra control. But her desire is to be a simple fangirl for a brooding boy who doesn't even acknowledge her. She expects him to be her knight in shining armor. Her performance in the preliminaries shows proof of that. Fighting her best friend over a boy. That's what disgusts me. Kakashi never bothered to beat that fangirl attitude out of her and give her the training and discipline to be a real kunoichi. Naruto Uzumaki. A promising shinobi with potential to be a great shinobi. Kakashi hasn't taught Naruto anything but tree walking and teamwork exercises. He hasn't taught him anything else. When the boy asked his sensei to train him for the finals, Kakashi straight up declined, telling him that he's training Sasuke for the finals and passed him on to Ebisu. I don't know what angers me more, the fact Kakashi pushed his other student aside in favor of training the other. That looks like favoritism to me. Luckily the boy ran into my ex-teammate who taught him water walking and how to summon toads. And Kakashi has the nerve to say Naruto has no talent. We are talking about a young boy who was able to paint the whole Hokage monument at night wearing a orange jumpsuit. Keep in mind that there was Anbu there guarding that area and he snuck past them undetected. Let's not forget he was able to also steal from the Hokage vault and take the Forbidden Scroll on a different night and learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu on that same night. What does that tell you? Tsunade ranted off, making direct eye contact with everyone in the room. No one said anything and was just in silence. Well, he did defeat my nephew in the finals, who was last year's Rookie of the Year. Hiyashi would point out. Yeah, the kid also beat my son in the preliminaries. Sume also spoke up. And from what I hear that he was able to beat Tsunade's Jinchuriki and practically save the village. Shikaku says, adding his 2 cents in with his friends Inoichi and Choza agreeing with him. And that's not all. Do you all know that Naruto is Minato Namikaze's son? Tsunade says, with the whole council looking at her in disbelief. What? Lies. Yondaime-sama never had a child. Says a random civilian council member as the rest of his colleagues agreed with him. Oh, does this birth certificate lie then? Tsunade says, pulling out the birth certificate of Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. As the clan heads looked shocked. What? Naruto is Minato's son. Hiyashi says in shock. I knew it. The Sandaime lied to us. Sume says with a growl she was a friend of Kushina Uzumaki. Troublesome. I too had a striking feeling that boy was related to Minato. Shikaku muttered with a sigh. The elders didn't like this was getting way out of hand. That's right. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki is under my care now and will be my apprentice. Not only that, but things are going to change here in this village since I'm Hokage now. Tsunade says, with the elders and civilian council looking pale, not looking forward to such changes. I want to know, why was the Uzumaki clan erased from Konoha's history? Since they are the ones who found the village too. My great-great-grandfather married Mito Uzumaki. I was told by Jiraiya that it was removed right after Naruto's birth. So I want an explanation. Tsunade says with her honey brown eyes narrowed directly at the elders. We felt it was better that Konoha or the next generation of shinobi shouldn't know much about the Uzumaki clan, a clan of foreigners. Plus we didn't want the Uzumaki boy to trace the dots about him having a clan. Kaharu would speak up. That was clearly not your sensei's choice to make. Had I been here I would have prevented that. I hereby declare that the knowledge of the Uzumaki clan be put back in Konoha's history. Tsunade spoke out. Tsunade. Reinstate Team 7 and Sasuke Uchiha at once. Homura attempted to command Tsunade but her gaze turned on him. Denied. That boy in Team 7 is done with. He will live the life as a civilian. And speaking of the Uchiha, I happen to know the truth behind the Uchiha clan massacre. Tsunade says with Homura, Kaharu and Danzo widening their eyes as the council listened in interest. Itachi didn't kill the whole clan to test his capabilities. He did it to prevent a coup. The Uchiha clan were planning a coup on the village because nobody trusted them. The Uchiha clan were the traitors. Tsunade states with everyone gasping. Wait, so Itachi was never a traitor. He was a hero all along. Inoichi would say with Tsunade nodding. Exactly. Itachi was a hero. To stop the coup but 3 certain elders here ordered him to kill not only the elderly, the women and children who could have been spared since they had nothing to do with the coup. Tsunade says with her glare on the elders as everyone turned to the said elders with looks of appalled expressions. You don't understand. It was for the good of Konoha. Homura tried to say but Tsunade's killer intent silenced him. What the 3 of you did was treason in my eyes. And you 3 and the civilian council are responsible for making Naruto's life hell here. I'm going to disband the civilian council. Leave the political problems to the shinobi. Tsunade says with a glare as the civilian council protests this action until Tsunade snapped her fingers summoning the Anbu in the room. With Yugao leading the said Anbu. What is this? Homura asks looking around. The civilian council are all under arrest their crimes towards Naruto as for you 3. You 3 will be put to death. Tsunade says with everyone gasping including the elders. What? Tsunade. You can't do this. Homura says. Your sensei and great-great-grandfather will be rolling in their graves. For what you are doing. Kaharu yelled in horror while Danzo scowled at Tsunade. I will not be denied as my right as Hokage. Root. Danzo called out as several Root. Root was never disbanded was it? Even when Sensei and Minato were Hokages. Tsunade scowled at Danzo. Kill her. Danzo commanded his Root as they charged at Tsunade. But the clan heads all of them intervened and fought the Root operatives including Yugao and her Anbu squad. Tsunade made a beeline for Danzo and kicked the old man against the wall and channeled both her fists in chakra and began punching his face in the wall damaging not just his hidden Sharingan eye but crushing his skull from the amount of punching she did with her fists covered in his blood. Smashing his whole head into paste killing him. She then turned towards Homura and Kaharu who were in fear that she killed Danzo. Tsunade. Stop. Please. Don't. Pleaded Homura as she walks towards him and impaled him with her fist with blood splattered on her face as she pulled her fist out of him and turned towards Kaharu. Kaharu backed up in fear with a terror-stricken expression that she soiled herself. Tsunade grabbed Kaharu's head and gave her a loud snap, snapping the old woman's neck. The Senju woman turned and saw the Root Anbu had been apprehended with some of them killed. Take away the civilian council and Danzo's Root. Interrogate all those Root members. It's possible that Danzo has a hidden Root base in the village. Once it's found I want all Root operatives to serve the Hokage from now on when they are re-educated. Tsunade barked orders to Yugao and her Anbu squad. At once Hokage-sama. You heard her men. Yugao would say as she and her men would round up the civilian council and Root operatives escorting them out of the council chamber. Thank you. Tsunade told the clan heads who nodded. You are much welcome Hokage-sama. Says Shikaku looking towards her. This meeting is dismissed. Tsunade says with the clan heads leaving as Tsunade also called for 2 Anbu to get rid of the bodies of Danzo, Homura and Kaharu and burn them. Tsunade herself deserves some sake after this. But first she's going to tend to Naruto then drink sake later on. Chapter 5. With Naruto and Shizune. During the same time while Tsunade dealt with the meeting Shizune true enough took Naruto to his favorite ramen stand. So how are you doing Naruto-kun? Asked Ayame the ramen waitress while her father was in the back cooking ramen. I'm doing great. Ayame-chan, you won't believe what's happening with me. I'm going to be trained by Tsunade Senju, the new Hokage. Naruto would answer as Ayame looked surprised that he going to be the Hokage's student. Oh, what happened with your old team? Ayame asked out of curiosity, and before Shizune or Naruto could answer that Tsunade arrived. Team 7 is disbanded, she says, shocking Naruto and Ayame. Shizune had already known this. Disbanded? What do you mean? Naruto asked, since this was the first time he'd heard of this. To put it blunt, both of them are regular civilians now. I terminated their shinobi registration and license. Not Kakashi though. He's been demoted to Chunin. Come to the Senju estate and I will tell you more. Tsunade would say as Naruto and Shizune picked up their ramen in to-go style and walked off with Tsunade to the Senju estate. Senju estate. Now at the Senju estate with Tsunade explaining to Naruto about why Team 7 was disbanded for 5 minutes. I see, guess that explains why they are disbanded. Naruto muttered. Yes, they were wrong to you. And Kakashi has been very negligent in your training. I can never understand why Kakashi never did his job, especially when he should have known you was his sensei's son. Tsunade would sit sipping on some tea sitting on a chair facing Naruto, who looked bewildered. What? Kakashi-sensei knew my father? And was his student? Naruto questioned, seeing Tsunade nod. Yes, I'd like to believe Sarutobi-sensei also told Kakashi to be silent about your heritage, she answered. I don't understand. If he knew I was the son of the Yondaime, why didn't he train me more? Instead of teaching Sasuke this and that? Naruto demanded, angry with his former sensei. He was probably following orders from Sarutobi at the time. Or probably the council, who are no longer in control. Tsunade would say with a frown. Which is why Naruto, today, I'm going to train you and teach you. Come outside. Tsunade would say, now getting up with him following her. As they were outside the Senju estate in the back, which has a private forest and training area, Naruto looked on in awe. As he glanced up at Tsunade. Ready for your training, Naruto? Tsunade asks, looking at the boy with a determined look. Ah yeah, I'm ready for this, he says with a determined grin, while she cracked a smile as well. For the first lesson, I will be teaching you more chakra control and to learn how to use chakra enhanced strength like me. But know this. That's not the only thing I will be teaching you. I will be teaching you what both my grandfather and granduncle taught me. The same with Mito Uzumaki. She would say, with him paying attention, and so on she would begin his training for the day. Later on, it was now 7 in the evening. As both Naruto and Tsunade trained for 3 hours. He was doing fairly in his training with her. Now it was time for dinner. Go fresh up and eat dinner. First thing in the morning I'm going to have you do more chakra exercises. Understand? Tsunade would say with him nodding. Naruto said nothing as he went in the Senju estate to go fresh up while she watched him. Shizune walked up to her sensei. So how did it go? Shizune asked with Tsunade facing her. He's doing well for the most part. I plan to have others train him. The busty Senju replied. Who do you have in mind? Shizune asked. I'm going to have Midorishi Anko teach him tracking and interrogation skills. Yugao will teach him Kenjutsu, since she is the best known Kenjutsu user here. You can also train him. Show him what I taught you, Shizune. Teach him the art of medics. He could save a lot more lives with medic jutsu to heal himself and those he cares about, including other lives while on missions. Tsunade would answer. Starting tomorrow I'll have a word with both of them. Tsunade added. Determined that she was going to make and mold Naruto into a proper shinobi. One that would make both his parents proud. The next day, the Hokage Tower. Do you two both know why I have called the two of you here? Tsunade asked, facing Anko and Yugao in the office. No, Hokage-sama, both would say in unison. Let me tell you two why. As you both know, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki is my new apprentice. And I plan to mold him as the perfect shinobi. I want his potential to be brought up on a perfect scale. While I am training him, but he will also learn from the two of you. Shizune, my other apprentice, gets to train him as well. Yugao, the reason I want you to train him is to teach him Kenjutsu, in which his mother was quite an ace at, and right now you are the current Kenjutsu specialist with the loss of Hayate, sorry for your loss. Anko, I want you to teach him interrogation skills, be more intimidating, teach him tracking skills as well. Tsunade would explain with both women in the room nodding. So where is the brat now, Tsunade-sama? Enko would ask, twirling her kunai. He is currently with Shizune right now. She is giving him a lesson on medic jutsu 101. Later on the two of you will be training him. You two are dismissed for now. Tsunade would say as both would nod and leave the room. After they left, the Anbu commander appeared. Report, Dragon, she says, facing the commander. We weren't able to interrogate much of the root Anbu, they had seals on their tongues. It seems that Danzo didn't want any chances of his operatives to fall in enemy hands or our hands to spill or leak any vital information and secrets. However, as per ordered, I have sent scouts all over the village to find the hidden root base, and it's been found, Lady Hokage. Dragon would say with her, frowning, that Danzo wasn't taking any chances of letting anyone find out about his dirty secrets. I see. Gather 4 platoons of your Anbu and take me to the root base. I want to know what else Danzo has been keeping from us. Tsunade says, getting up from her desk. Right away, Hokage-sama. Dragon says, vanishing in a swirl of leaves to do just that command while she gets ready to go and see Danzo's base. Find a way to remove all those seals off their tongues. She would normally have Jiraiya do something like this since he, self-proclaimed, himself as a seals master. But he is on punishment right now, and she intends to keep on that stretcher in the hospital for all that he's done to Naruto. She will figure it out herself. Once those seals are removed, she could have all those root Anbu re-educated to only follow orders for the Hokage. Then she will discover what more secrets Danzo kept in the dark, knowing he's probably no doubt committed treasonous things behind her sensei's back, and those other 2 elders Homura and Kaharu probably have protected Danzo's secrets and schemes. Once again she has to clean house. Lots of things are going to change for the better around here. Naruto's training and such is her top priority. And the village is second on her list. Chapter 6. Root Base. Tsunade along with the Anbu commander are looking and investigating the whole Root HQ base. Looking at everything Danzo once had at his disposal. Looking at various documents and such. Many things that could label the old Warhawk with lots of penalties for committing many treasonous crimes under her sensei's nose. And she probably had a hunch that Homura and Kaharu were in on it too. Probably helped covering Danzo's tracks. A good thing she executed them. What to do now, Hokage-sama? Dragon, the Anbu commander, asked her. Take all documents and such away. As for those who were being conditioned to be root operatives, they are to be re-educated so that they can be in full service to their Hokage and not Danzo. Danzo is no more. Root officially belongs to the Hokage. Also take the orphans too. Have them reconditioned before sending them back to the orphanage. She commands with disgust in her voice. Disgust and loathing for Danzo. At once, Hokage-sama. You heard her, men. Dragon said to all Anbu who are still extracting all assets and documents that Danzo hid in his root base. Tsunade glances at one particular document that she found in Danzo's office, glaring at it. It was a certain amount procedure that involved the use of Senju genes, from her grandpa Harashirama Senju. In hopes of replicating the wood style, it boiled her blood that not only Danzo has possibly injected the Senju genes into that arm of his, but her ex-teammate Orochimaru helped. Which boiled her blood further that he had a hand in this. Tsunade would proceed to investigate more on what else Danzo has hidden from her in the whole village. With Naruto. Naruto would be in the Senju training ground going through some fighting scrolls Tsunade has left him to use. Right now he learning some good taijutsu-based moves. Such as, Slugger style, Kazama style, Capoeira style, Hapkido style, Karate style, and Mishima style. Even Wolf Kung Fu style. He is beating a dummy using Slugger style, demolishing its face with one punch. Tsunade is going to teach him another lesson when she's done for the day. Hey, a kid, chimes a familiar voice, making Naruto whip his head at 2 figures at the door with Shizune right besides them. It was Anko and Yugao. Huh, what's going on here? You're the crazy snake lady, Anko-sensei. Naruto would say. Sure is, kid. Anko put on her dangerous smile. What are you two doing here? He asked in confusion. We are here to train you, Naruto. Tsunade-sama has asked us both to train you for the day, Yugao was the one to answer. Okay. So what do I gotta learn from you guys? He asked, getting right to the point. What I will be teaching you is Kenjutsu. Which is something your mother is very good at. I knew her. I couldn't tell you was because I was under strict orders from the Sandaime not to. So I'm sorry that I couldn't tell you about your mother sooner. Yugao would say. When she was assigned to be one of Naruto's protectors during his early life, she didn't like the fact that the Sandaime did not want her to reveal Naruto's heritage. Knowing he has a right to know them, she was against it, but knowing it was an S rank and that the penalty for breaking an S rank secret would be death. Naruto looked at Yugao. He wasn't angry at her, neither did he blame her. I understand, so when can we get started? He asked. And so the two would begin their training with Naruto. For the whole day. With Kakashi. Kakashi stares at the memorial stone, in silence, reflecting on where everything went wrong. How did it all go wrong? Team 7 is disbanded. He's been demoted to Chunin, which is humiliating and shocking. Why did this happen? He asked himself in disbelief. What did Tsunade mean by Naruto having way more potential than Sasuke? With Sasuke was in his clan home glaring at the Hokage tower. Mad with rage that bitch of a Hokage disbanded his team and reduced him as nothing but a civilian. A civilian. He clenched his fists, unable to accept any of this. He will not accept what the current Hokage has done. Now how will he get his revenge on Itachi? Now that bitch of a Hokage is holding him back. And she has the nerve to say Naruto has more potential than him. When she said that, something clicked in Sasuke's mind. Could it be possible that Naruto is getting some sort of special training? From who though? And how come the Dobi gets special treatment from the said? The point is, Tsunade Senju is playing favorites with Naruto Uzumaki. He needs to bring this to the elders. The council. Little did Sasuke knew was that the elders had been executed and that the council loyal to the elders had been arrested. Meaning he is alone. And by himself. With Sakura. She herself was just as lost as Sasuke and Kakashi. It hit her hard that Team 7 is disbanded and that she is no longer a kunoichi anymore. What's worse is that both her parents who are on the civilian council are arrested. She didn't know why but will know eventually. None of this is fair. What did she do to deserve this? Her fists clenched, as she grit her teeth in frustration. There is one person who is to blame for all of this. Naruto, that idiot is the cause of this. She growled with anger for Naruto. Damn straight about that. That idiot always ruined things for us. Especially Sasuke-kun. Inner Sakura spat. Naruto is the cause of this. He probably did this out of spite because she wouldn't return her feelings to him when she loves Sasuke-kun and not him. That had to be it. He is the cause of Team 7 disbanding, ruining her chances to be a great kunoichi. Along with denying her the chance to get training from Tsunade so that she can be a better wife and kunoichi for Sasuke. All because she rejected him and did this out of spite and jealousy. He was always jealous of Sasuke. I'm so going to give that idiot a piece of my mind. This is all his fault. She screeched. He is going to pay dearly for this. Chapter 7. Hokage Tower. Tsunade is currently looking over every document and files Danzo had kept secret. As she looked over to various documents, glaring, she grabbed the next thing. Danzo's journal. Let's see what other dirty secrets you've hid from us, Danzo. She muttered as she opened the book, reading page after page of Danzo's life, his activities, his schemes to pull things in the shadows under her sensei's nose. Along with reading some plots and schemes around the events of the Chunin exams. Reading his involvement of Orochimaru once again. Danzo had long wanted to be Hokage and had formed a secret alliance with Orochimaru. Danzo is the reason Orochimaru got into the Leaf Village when the Chunin exams were underway. Now it made sense of how her traitorous ex-teammate was able to slip past security. Danzo had tipped off Orochimaru and possibly warned him. Her eyes narrowed when she saw the plan of Danzo waiting for the opportunity of Orochimaru killing Hiruzen so that he can step in and take advantage of becoming the next Hokage. So glad the son of a bitch is dead. Orochimaru is next on that list. She scoffed under her breath, reading more. Reading his remarks on how it was him that weakened Uzu's defensive seals and had tipped off Uzu's enemies. You see, Konoha and Uzu were allies. At that time, it was when Kushina was a little girl back in the day. Mito was getting older and was no longer in her prime, so she passed on the Kyuubi to Kushina. Around that time, Konoha's governing system, her sensei, Danzo, Homura and Kaharu saw their chance of having a Jinchuriki in the Leaf Village and had decided to take the opportunity in convincing the Uzumaki clan head to let Kushina stay over in Konoha. So that explains Uzu's downfall. I hope that BS starred rots in hell. Tsunade growled, reading for more information. She had read about the Uchiha clan massacre. It disgusted her that her sensei and his friends supported the Uchiha clan massacre. A complete genocide, only leaving that spoiled brat Sasuke Uchiha alive. Itachi had been a double agent, monitoring the Uchiha clan's motives. Fugaku, leader of the Uchiha clan, wanted to start a coup here. Because no one in Konoha trusted the Uchiha clan, along with a rumor that her sensei suspected the Uchiha clan had something to do with the Fox attack. Fugaku grew tired of this, seeing everyone mistrust the Uchiha clan. So he thought of forming a coup to overthrow her sensei and the other clans here in Konoha by kidnapping Naruto Uzumaki and use the boy, since they knew Naruto held the fox within him and couldn't pass up such opportunity. Luckily Itachi prevented it all. But at what cost? What about the women, the children, the elderly? Did they all have to die? Did it ever occur to her sensei and the others that the women, children and elderly of the Uchiha clan had nothing to do with the coup and that they were all innocent? They could have ordered Itachi to just kill Fugaku and those loyal to him and not the rest of the Uchiha clan. But no, kill them all and leave his bratty brother as the sole survivor. She will need to talk with Itachi at some point about this. Closing the journal. She will use this for her next meeting with the clans of Konoha to discuss more of Danzo's treachery. Senju compound. Tsunade would return to her home with Shizune greeting her. So how his training go with Yugao and Anko? Tsunade asked her student. It went well. Shizune answered. Okay. Where is he? Tsunade asked again. Anko and Yugao took him out to treat him some ramen. Shizune replied with her master nodding. Okay. Maybe later or tomorrow me and him will do some training together. I am suggesting on having him learn some medical jutsu. He can save and heal likely 100 lives with the Kyuubi's chakra, Tsunade would say, sitting in her chair. You believe he can accomplish that? What about his summons, since you forbid Jiraiya from seeing Naruto? Shizune asked, with Tsunade stroking her chin in a calculating way. I personally feel like the Toads should have long known about Naruto. They knew Minato, and have known Jiraiya along with his responsibilities as Naruto's godfather, and didn't pressure that idiot into taking said responsibility like he promised Minato. Tsunade says, frowning. She also holds the Toads accountable for not being in Naruto's life. Especially if they knew Naruto's father personally and respected him a lot more than her dumbass teammate. They knew about Jiraiya's responsibility to being Naruto's godfather and yet did nothing to make the Toad Sage go do his duty and promise to his late student. She's fully inclined on meeting with Jiraiya or have her slug summon Katsuyu take her to Mount Myoboku and confront the Toads. And have them remove Naruto off the Toad summoning contract, since she feels Naruto needs a different summon. Perhaps learn from the slugs. Or she can give him a summoning scroll of his own choosing. What are you implying? Shizune asked, confused. I hold the Toads accountable as well for Naruto. I will deal with them later another time. Tsunade answered her student. She will worry about that another day, she has so much other stuff she must clean. Well, let's wait for Naruto to come back. She says, resting in her chair. Elsewhere. You sure that's the place? Asked a female voice. Yeah, I am sure. Mei-sama did say this was exact location. Says another female voice. So that's the Leaf Village. Never thought we'd have to get help from Konoha, spoke the female voice. Mei-sama was running out of options, Kasumi-chan. She sent us to get help from Konoha. Spoke a woman who held her fan holding it. Then let's get to it, Mai. Kasumi says. Yes. Let's find this Hokage. I've heard this Hokage is a woman. Tsunade Senju. Mai Shiranui says with a smile as the two women gazes ahead at the Leaf Village that was a couple miles away from them. That was part 1 of Naruto's dominant rise. If you enjoyed it, like, share, and subscribe to Fox Fan Fiction. Comment below, which bond made the biggest impact.